Welcome back, fellas. Now, this whole RGB setup right here was definitely intentional and not a last-minute thought. You know, there was definitely no problems with my green screen and lighting and me not getting the weird ring in my glasses. No, that didn't happen. All this setup, definitely intentional. Now, originally making this 500 subscription video, I was going to write some notes down and kind of wing it, but then those notes became a highly detailed essay, so I apologize for that. If it looks like I'm looking at the screen, reading off a script, that's because I am. But don't let that fool you. The things that I'm saying is genuine and it's coming from the heart. So please, if it seems a little soulless, I'll try to make contact with the camera, i.e. you, through whatever you're watching this on. After Season 1 of the Cave retrospective and the break I took, I'm ready to continue with my content. In this video, I want to cover interesting experiences making this content, answer comments or expand on a comment I thought was interesting, talk about what's to come, but before I do, I really need to thank you guys. Because of you, I've hit the milestone of 500 subs. It's a small number compared to other YouTubers, but having over 500 individuals' eyes on me is still nothing short of amazing. On top of that, the positive feedback has been really encouraging, but the consequence of this is now my conscience is constantly badgering me to get some video work done all the time now. But that's a good thing, it combats my laziness. Like always, guys, if you want to help me out, share the video. Word of mouth is a powerful force. Like and sub, all that YouTube rhetoric. But definitely keep up on the comments. If you've got something to say, please express it. That engagement just feeds the algorithm. And if you want to be a rad Chad like these guys here, feel free to take a look at my Patreon and possibly donate. It would certainly help me out. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get started. So roughly around Chapter 2 on Dodonpachi, I entered shmup forums and groups to not only show my work, but ask for legitimate criticism. If I have an opportunity to grow, I want to know, and if you guys know anything about the internet, people will definitely let you know what they think. And more specifically, what they don't like. So, what did people say? Well, it was overwhelmingly positive. Some of these comments even helped me out in the following videos. But there was a specific rumbling, and not from many people, mind you, that I thought would be great to highlight. It went something like, I think your content is solid. It's just too bad you credited YouTubers who use TAS when you were showing some of the true bosses. For those who don't know what TAS is, it's actually an anagram. It stands for Tool Assisted Speedrun. I knew of TAS prior to making this retrospective, but I'm not going to pretend I understand the full scope of what TAS is. But from what I can gather, it's using different tools like save states from emulators and creating inputs for your avatar to implement. If you make a mistake, like dying or getting hit, you can load that previous save state and try a different method to overcome the obstacle. After trial and error, eventually you have artificially created a damn near perfect speedrun video of said game. This is mainly consumed for entertainment purposes because honestly, the movements of these avatars are so damn near perfect it's as if a robot is playing it. Just look at these Tekken TAS fights and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. However, if it's created for entertainment value, why would people take issue with me using some of this TAS footage? Well, it's one thing if you have speedrun content and state your video is a tool-assisted speedrun. It's another if you claim that you yourself have completed a perfect run without these tools, only for viewers to find out you were lying, or at very least didn't mention that you were using TAS practices in your video description. I believe what the few critics were expressing to me is that it would be ethical to use non-TAS footage and credit those players instead. And yeah, that makes sense. Giving credit to players out there using their raw talent completing one-credit runs is definitely a good gesture. But personally, and bear with me when I explain this is kind of a non-issue. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to be seeking non-TAS footage now that I'm aware of this. And if any of you watching this gives me your blessing, I'd love to use your footage if you have it. But honestly, I was just focused on acquiring footage that helped illustrate my points. TAS or not, the footage I acquired doesn't change my point that the localization in Dodonpachi and Dagon Feveron was awful. It doesn't change the point that these true bosses are incredibly difficult. So difficult I had to resort to these clips because I myself could not meet the game's requirements to show you these scenarios. Using these clips for a millifraction of my videos, which is heavily dominated by multiple Mr. FPGA playthroughs, doesn't seem to take away my overall message of said video. And hilariously enough, the very few people who brought this up didn't seem to notice a spelling error in the credits that I myself didn't catch until the 4th chapter of this retrospective, meaning that same spelling error was there 3 times, once per video. I'm still beating myself up for that. Ironically, if I never attempted to be ethical and credit the footage that wasn't mine, I probably wouldn't have received this mild criticism. And to clarify, it's not my intention to make the few of you who brought this up mad. I'm sure most of you who brought this up did so under good faith. I did learn about TAS because of this experience, so it's not like there wasn't any merit there. So, moving on, I will do my best not to use TAS footage, but if I accidentally acquire that footage because some goober didn't state TAS in his description, I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. I'm just trying to make videos that have imagery that represents my interpretations of said game. So after I complete a video, I typically share it with groups or forums that is related to said content. You wouldn't post shmup content on a Gunpla Discord. That's just going to annoy said group. So I got into the habit of sharing my videos on Instagram, Twitter, and shmup groups on Facebook and Reddit. One day, I was checking my email and I noticed that I received 3 notifications from Reddit. It was replies to my videos. One of them stated, "Wow, I'm sure glad I get to see this ugly gay kid's face on every fucking subreddit. Thanks for spamming, asshole." The second one being, "Thanks for spamming the shitty video. Also, you look retarded." And finally, "Oh boy, another abuser of self-promotion. Fuck off. Holy shit, your face pisses me off." Guys, I have the impression that this guy doesn't like me very much. Honestly, these comments are so aggressive and mean that it's more funny to me than it is upsetting. By the time I went to Reddit directly, all these comments were deleted and the mods banned this user. One guy was even nice enough to try to reach out to me about it, but I missed all of it because I was working. So, what happened here? Well, there's 3 different shmup pages on Reddit, and when I release a new video, I post it to each group. I'm not sure how many people follow all 3 pages, but I highly doubt they do because each page is varied in members. So that means if I post on one group, it doesn't reach to the individuals in the other group who may like my content. But all of this begs the question, is self-promotion bad? My answer to that is, it depends. If you're watching football and the commercials for products that doesn't cater to your interest are constantly being shoved down your throat, yeah, that's annoying. And even if it was commercials that cater to your interests, you didn't voluntarily seek it out. At the end of the day, you just want to watch goddamn football. However, if you're part of a JRPG forum discussing everything and anything JRPGs, why get upset when someone presents their JRPG passion in the form of video content on the forum about JRPGs? Let me be transparent here, guys. I'm making YouTube videos and I want to grow. I'm not going to pretend that this isn't the case. But you have to be living under a rock to think all I need to do is create my content, upload it, and pray that 2 people watches my video. We have all heard about the starving artist, right? You can create the most wonderful piece of art the world has ever seen, but none of that matters if you can't market yourself. How many times have you ran into something that resonates to you and you ask yourself, how did I miss this? Why isn't this more popular? I'm not claiming my video is god tier content by any means, but my point is I have no shame wanting to grow as a channel and wanting others to enjoy my content. Like most things, you have to put yourself out there. I personally believe that I understand how to read a room and not to overstep my boundaries when it comes to self-promotion. In fact, I think some of you guys understand this because you found me through Facebook and Reddit. I know this because some of you stated you subbed to my channel on Facebook and Reddit. I also created a poll a few weeks ago asking you guys how you found my content. Let's actually pull that up. Jamie, pull that up. Now keep in mind, only 29 of you voted in this poll, but it still gives me some kind of idea. At dead last is Twitter with 0%, word of mouth being 21%, Facebook group being 3%, and Reddit being 34%. That is large. The first, to my surprise, is the YouTube algorithm at 41%. But, to be fair, I posted this poll probably around the S-Braid section or Dagon Viveron. So by that time, there was enough engagement in the comments and there's enough upload frequency that may have helped out in that grand scheme of these results. My point is, a large chunk of you are here because I voluntarily threw my content out for people to see it. And that's scary. I have no idea if you guys are going to like this content. but thankfully you do. And I can't fully express to you guys how appreciative I am for that. So yeah, that's my Reddit moment story. So thanks to that unhinged user, it actually opened up an interesting topic. Cyark says, enjoyed your insight on these cave titles. I've been a huge fan for almost 20 years. Excited for the next season, which gets into my absolute favorites. Oh yeah, Season 2's got some fucking bangers. Social Kid says, you're gonna get to 1K in no time. I'll enjoy my time now while you're small and can answer my every comment. Thanks, that means a lot. 1K is definitely the goal, and to be honest, you guys have given me faith that I can actually reach that, so I really appreciate that. Vino Shmup jumps in the comment section. If you don't know who Vino Shmups is, if you could guess, he covers shmup content. So definitely go check him out as well. He's been very supportive of me too. Very nice guy. So anyway, Vinu says, I totally agree with your friend. You don't need to be an expert of the game to make a good video about it. Really enjoyed this series and looking forward to the next one. Again, nothing but positivity from this guy and all of you in general, so thanks again. Pyromania 1983 says, I feel that a big reason the shmup genre has become obscured so heavily by media is because of the assumption that these games are only made for expert players and people that can complete them with high scores. In reality, they offer an experience unlike anything else in gaming, and I appreciate that you decided to make a video series with your own perspective. Hopefully gaming will have a return to form and appreciate the value and experiences that only shmups can offer. That is absolutely true. Arcade games are made by design to capture people's interest when these were out in the corners of supermarkets, laundromats, malls, and arcades in general. The vibrant colors, strong sound design, and visual aesthetics was meant to draw people in for a short burst of entertainment. And if this cab happened to be in an arcade, it has to compete with all the other games trying to grab your attention. You know how in RPGs you start with a rusty butter knife and your attacks take 2 damage per hit? Then much later, you're dual-wielding the toothpicks of God and absolutely demolishing everything in sight? That's great, but how long did it take you to get to that part? 60, 70, 80 hours? Do you know how long it takes for you to get the heavy machine gun in Metal Slug X?
Mission 1, start! Thank you. Thank you. Heavy machine gun.
10 seconds. I timed it. And goddamn, shooting that weapon is a direct injection of endorphins. These games have to be cranked to 10 all the time to get you to play them. It's a burst of energy that very few games in the modern age can replicate. When I played Metal Slug X for the first time at the roller rink with my father, I didn't care when I died. I just experienced a burst of fun I never had before. Years later, Metal Slug was my gateway into emulation. Despite having unlimited continues and therefore defeating the purpose of challenge, I was still having fun completing these games with my friends. I, for one, am eternally grateful for these maniacs taking these PCB boards and extracting the raw data out there for me to experience. This allows curious individuals to try something that could transcend them to an undiscovered plane of enjoyment. And going further into the comments, I notice a pattern that kind of echoes what Pyromania was saying. Man, it's just nice to see a new YouTuber look at the varied history of Cave. Gives me hope that one day the bullet hell genre will be as respected as fighting games, RPGs, and etc. Dude, these videos are absolute gems. You're really showing the Cave lineage the love it deserves. I'm really looking forward to the next. Really enjoyed your videos, man. You do good work for sure. Also, shmups in general, but especially bullet hell shmups, are pretty niche, and there really isn't a ton of people doing content, so the more, the better, in my opinion. These games aren't easy, and most of us playing them, I suspect, don't just 1cc them on our first run. Hell, I know I will likely never 1cc SDOJ, but that's probably legitimately one of the hardest games ever made. So for those of us who aren't superhuman and just enjoying playing shmups, it's nice to have videos that could potentially draw in a wider audience. This was actually a pretty nice video about Don Pachi. I'm a big K fan and a huge shmup fan at that. I like that you admit you're no shmup master or anything, no pretensions either. There are ways to approach these games, even if some of these things every now and then are actually absolute bullshit out of nowhere. I wish more people outside of the shmup crowd would take a look at these games with the same point of view you have. Earned a sub, keep it up. So, prior to making this content, I was vaguely worried the fans would tear my content up for being a filthy casual. But it turns out, You guys enjoy an outsider's perspective. These videos seem to be answering a niche demographic that wishes more people would take interest in the bullet hell genre. I knew going into this that my audience mileage would vary with my subject matter, but I felt compelled to talk about cave shooters because cave has a charm that I admittedly have a hard time describing, but these videos are helping me get to the root of that. The Rad Chad Patreon subscriber Mexikill50 states, "Congrats. As for a question, why do you think the genres in games like farming simulators and open world games are exploding in popularity while others are languishing? Are shmups and turn-based RPGs destined to be left behind?" I think the reason 80-hour open world games and simulators are doing so well is because, frankly, it ticks all of these subconscious desires modern players have without stretching them too thin. When you play Skyrim, everyone recognizes that you're the Dragonborn. You're basically worshipped. I watched my fiance and my friend play Hogwarts Legacy recently, and a lot of the characters they interact with would perform sexual favors for you if you asked them. NPCs just remind the protagonists how amazing they are constantly. In fact, I think having actual consequences in modern games would lose a huge chunk of that player base. And look, I'm not saying that games only have to be challenging, but it's clear that the modern game companies have these pandering characteristics down to a fucking T. But before I'm accused of being a game purist, let me be clear. It's fine that easy or casual friendly games exist. But when it starts affecting pre-established companies or a series that was built upon trusting people to figure out how to get through a scenario, that's when you lose the player base that made you big in the first place. Recently, I played the Final Fantasy XVI demo, and yeah, I like it. But let's not kid ourselves. That's not Final Fantasy. That's an action game with the Final Fantasy skin. I find it strange that these kind of genre swaps is accepted, because no one dares to look at chess and say, you know, this should be as accessible as checkers. You can try to adjust the rules, but now it's not chess. It's something else. But thankfully, all isn't lost. Challenge-oriented players never really went away. RPGs still have Shin Megami and Persona. Indie devs have made excellent bullet hell games over the years, but I don't think these titles will ever reach the hype as the AAA dad simulators. It's pretty clear at this point these big gaming studios are risk-adverse. If you guys made it this far, goddamn, you must be really bored. If this episode is considered the intermission, then the next video will be a palate cleanser. During my hiatus, I grabbed my Steam Deck and I just decided to play Wild Guns on a whim. Not to be confused with Wild Arms like my fiance always does, but I can't blame her. Very similar names and they're both sci-fi westerns. Yeah, so I found myself having fun. A lot of fun. So much fun that I wanted to actually make a video about it. It's not quite a bullet hell game, but it shares a similar spirit. And after that, it's back to the cave retrospective with Season 2. So that's the plan for now. Big Patreon shout out to the Rad Chad Mexi50Cal. Thanks for believing in me. Thanks for believing in my content. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Yeehaw.